everybody has to. That's exciting. Yeah, but really, did they give me? Yeah, they should, but Isabel rarely did. Love it. This is for my mouth.
I don't know. I'm going. Well, this is Lisa. That's not.
I thought you wanted the calendar to add. I mean, there's
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I didn't check. Anyone you check, they're going to be. I thought we.
Okay, if you could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The boroughs comply with those provisions of the Sunshine Act by adopting prior to January 10th of this year, with prescribing the dates, times, and locations of all regular meetings of the Commission. This meeting is one of the meetings listed in the resolution. Copies of the resolution are prior to January 10th filed with Borough Clerk. Commissioner Leonard is finishing her vacation. She's working her way back out here this evening. Okay.
The motion CFO tax collector municipal court is 1660.
This goes, is that right?
It's patrol. Yeah.
There's a patrol, okay.
And
So,
just the ordinance with the range.
right, so this is the product of it's just negotiation extending our contract out. Really, there's just slight changes in the contract. There's 2% increases in it, and then some of the salaries in higher levels have been adjusted slightly upward. What we have found is that over the last 15 years, we've done two different sets of negotiations of knocking starting salaries back 10%. We knocked them back 10%, and then we knocked starting salaries back 10% from that 10%. And what we have found is that it has made us not competitive in like middle years. And so we've been losing people to other towns because of comparable size, because they can make an extra buck. So we bumped that up a little bit to help keep, give a financial incentive to keep people around. Okay. This is the public hearing on the ordinance. Anyone like to be heard on this? This is your opportunity. Yes, sir. Just name and address for the record.
Eric on hour 253.
Yeah, they get paid.
I never heard of that.
Council, executives, okay. Anyone else? Okay, Hop.
Mayor Mallon?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewandowski?
Yes.
Okay, so before we open up the resolutions, I want to just go through what we started last week about doing a little public session. If anyone has any questions, and I'll let everybody know, I know it's not really publicized, but we tried this week and we got agenda up on the web, right? On Friday by the end of the workday. So we're trying to get it out in advance, and hopefully we're going to be able to keep to that and do that every Friday before a commission meeting. And I know folks know that necessarily, so we're able to see in advance, but if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to make or ask us questions about anything that's on the agenda before we go through the resolutions and adopt, happy to entertain you. Yes?
Yeah, Kate Delaney, 126 East Palmer. I have a number of questions about the municipal JIF, which is half of the page there.
Okay, renewing membership?
Yes, the
Sure.
Municipal Joint Insurance Fund, for everybody else who might not know that abbreviation.
Could you just speak up a little bit?
Yes, I want to ask what the contract.
Well, I have to see, the JIP is set, it's our insurance, we can get that information for you, I'm not sure what it is. But it's probably just slightly more than it was last year in our budget.
So what is the borough's annual assessment? Because it's from the renewal agreement that Connors and Strong gets 6% off the top.
Right.
So what is that number?
I don't know what the annual assessment is. We can get that for you. That's what the annual premium is for our workers' comp liability insurance.
Municipal JIFs, could we participate in other?
There is no, that's why I was just wanted to get clear. There's no other Camden insurance pool that's made up, it's basically a shared service between just about all the towns in Camden County. Brad, you probably have all of them in now.
School districts too, right?
I'm on a couple school districts, couple fire districts. I'm on the executive committee of that
Right, I have a
JIF.
question about that.
It's fine. We'll start in 20 years and better
I'm
cover.
advocating for community choice aggregation. I understand about the full power to bid. You're also a fund commissioner, so are you compensated for those
That's the
roles?
same thing. Yes, I am.
So if you have to contribute a vote to approve something as the mayor that you also
I'm on it because
understand. That was, that,
what you do is you would be voting contracts that make handling liability claims. It votes on workers' comp cases, and we go through and make decisions about whether we should settle a case, whether we shouldn't settle a case. We do the work that commercial insurance companies used to do for us before.
I understand.
And we do that because we get a better rate for our town.
Right, but you're on the board there and you also, it seems a conflict, but I will move the JIF attorney as well as our town solicitor, again.
The JIF by the self-insurance fund, the JIF. Okay.
Okay, well, maybe you should check out Alex.
Okay.
And probably most problematic to Perma and J. Montgomery, the subcontractors that are affiliate of Connor Strong, George Cross, Connor Strong and Norcross are both under investigation for defrauding the public via the EDA, given this winery re-upping with a company that is under investigation.
Because even with the investigations you referred to, they have absolutely nothing to do with the JIFs. They provide
They have
us.
to do with public trust.
Tell you what you referred to, they have absolutely nothing to do with the JIFs. They
They
provide
have to do
us.
with public trust.
Tell you what, when you're done talking, I'll answer, and then you can talk, okay? Instead of you interrupting me when I'm speaking, okay? So what Camden has absolutely nothing to do with their insurance operation or what goes on with the JIF. I can tell you that they do great service for us. They represent a lot of towns throughout the state in the JIFs, and we are very happy with the service. Have been for over 20 years. Firms with business. After Oprah, you ask for it, fine. You don't have to answer, they will send us an Oprah. Okay, all right, thanks. Anyone else? Any comment on the agenda? Okay, Kyle, let's go.
All right. Citizen Howard Loss as chief firefighter. Appointing alternate members to the Collinswood Historic Commission, Patrick Snook and Megan Craddock,
Yes.
30th, 2019.
So your tax bills, well, not hopefully, it's not the second time, but Carl by the post office saying that they had the wrong amount of postage and didn't, and so everything's going back out again. But taxes has been extended to August the 30th. Make sure you pay your taxes on time. If you do not, your taxes on time. If you do not, then so yes.
Approving the, I'm going to do the roll call for this. Approving the budget.
Yes. Okay, all right. So this is the public hearing of it?
No,
We'll do it the next one.
yes, it's
Okay, it's a goofy process.
and it's-
So at our September 3rd meeting, hearing on the bid budget.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Authorizing shared service subcom. Approving renewal of membership in the Camden County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund.
Yes.
Yes.
Authorizing renewal of membership in the Camden Joint Insurance Fund.
Yes.
Yes.
Authorizing emergency appropriations for the repair of water main break at Route 130.
So you want to,
Yeah, well, just of all electrical lines to our Collinswood substation, and that's what essentially put our business district out of order for such a long time. Obviously, these things come at a cost and unplanned costs, and that's what our resolutions are. I also really want to just say a big thank you to the Public Works officials, the savers, many days, Cass, with the communications, keeping townsfolk informed, very important. There's a lot in roads and walkways and getting people back online. It's a tremendous, challenged to do that, and appreciate everything.
Two emergency appropriations we need to make in order to do these repairs. There's two emergency appropriations we need to make in order to do these. Well, five, right? Five issues fixed and back up and running. That's why there were some of the notices I got. There could be issues with work, and so on Cooper Ridge, go away. People get around water. Dangerous for them, but when we get rid of that, we think this is going to help us get rid of that. So yes.
Yes.
Authorizing to advertise for an RFP.
I've been looking at trying to develop there. Obviously, nothing's happened on that front, so that hasn't moved. We've had some ideas broached to us by many within our borough family that there's some public space, some things that we could do there. So this is going out on a request for proposals to get in from planners, architects, to put together a plan and give us some ideas about what we may be able to do with that space. So it's simply going out to get somebody, to hire them, to have them, give us some thoughts and ideas of what we could do with the space. Okay? Yes.
Yes.
Authorizing shared service agreement with the Borough of Oakland for the rental of equipment and use of manpower.
This is a little bit of a shared service. We've got some equipment that, and some manpower that worked out a deal to have them lend, like it's a street sweeper, right? Is a big part of it, right? That we'll be able to do parts of that. They'll reimburse us for that. Maybe share us some manpower when we need it, when things aren't so good. Working out a little more of a formal relationship on DPW activities. Yes.
Yes.
Approving a lien certification for 328 Harvard Avenue.
So this has been, this property had someone unfortunately commit suicide at the end of last year. There's no family. We've been really kind of between lien holders trying to get possession of the property, no family to help take over the property, and there have been a lot of issues with the property. So we find after a lot of effort trying to get the lien holder or somebody else to step up, the borough has stepped up, and we have gone and done a lot of work in terms of cleaning out this property, exterminating the property, kind of making it secure, and this is simply putting a lien upon the property for the amount that we've spent to do the work. Okay? Yes.
Yes.
And approving the payment of bills as presented by the treasurer.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Robert? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just really covered the storm, full events, so I just want to point out. First of all, tomorrow night is National Night Out, which is going to be held here in Collingswood at Scottish Rite from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. It's really a great event to really promote public safety and community partnerships. And it's an opportunity for families, kids, everyone, people of all ages to come out. There's, food, music, games, a lot of fun stuff. Chief Carey and I are getting into the dunk tank. So just to know that Chief Carey has already said he wants to make sure he goes before me because he thinks I'm going to displace all the water. I don't think that's very nice of him, skinny self. But National Night Out tomorrow night. A couple of other things. People haven't already seen it. Collingswood Gatsby Gala, right? This is celebrating 20 years of Collingswood's involvement with the Scottish Rite Auditorium with a 20s theme event Friday, October 4th. I mention it because early bird tickets are still on sale through the end of the month, $40. And the proceeds from this event, unlike what we've done for the pop-up galas, will support the Collingswood Foundation of Arts and the Scottish Rite Auditorium. So it's going to be a great event, light fare. I think you get a couple drink tickets and ability to purchase from the bar outside of that. Recreation, only because it's such a big program, the recreation soccer. Just to point out that that game starts September 14th and they'll run through November 2nd. I believe there's some soccer clinics from the August 19th to 21st, but as people are sort of getting close to the school year, sometimes they're a little worried about the date. So September 14th is the first day of soccer, and it's always a challenge because you have the volunteer coaches and getting everyone together. Essentially, all happens at the last minute. So getting the coaches and getting teams put together essentially happens kind of around Labor Day. get word out and get teams together. So I wanted to point that out because it's important. And then it's only a couple of weeks away is the Collingswood Arts and Crafts Festival, which is August 17th and 18th, right on Haddon Avenue. I want to also point out, especially the 17th is market night. This is really turned, really turned a challenge, which is essentially we closed down the avenue for an entire night into a real boom for residents and visitors and actually the local businesses as well. So the vendors have been asked to stay open. Many of them have decided to. Tons of activities, live music, and they're going to have the tightrope walker acrobats, movies, and all that stuff. So it's a great time to get out. It's very obviously pedestrian friendly. It doesn't get more pedestrian friendly than that day to get out and hit the market. So it should be a fun day. So I wanted to mention that. So that's what I got there.
Okay, we got a few things. First and foremost is just to recognize our police chief, Kevin Carey. Kevin's being recognized by the International Association of Chiefs of Police as one of their 40 under 40. That is an extremely big deal. That is not SJ Magazine or the Courier fan voting for the best police chief in South Jersey. That is the International Association of Chiefs of Police. It's a national recognition. So Kevin, congratulations. Very big deal. We're lucky to have him here. I know his dad was a member of our police department for a long, long time. Very proud. His mom and dad were proud. So it's great. I want to back up what Rob said and thank everyone in the borough for their help through the storms, through that week that we had. I want to give a special shout out to PSE&G who worked well with us. It wasn't all perfect, but we, in very difficult times, we worked really, really well together. They have chipped in $10,000 to the borough to help us in marketing of the bid of the business district in order to to help those businesses for the time that they lost while they were out. So we're looking at how we might be able to best do that. But I really want to just give a thank you to all our residents because people were really concerned with it. When we came up with and implemented this really quick, thanks to Cassandra, we did this really quick extension, lights on. We were marketing it. Good Lord, we got more press out of that than some of the big events that we do when we plan, months in advance. And it was all quick and easy, and it was kind of like a modern day barn raising. Like there was trouble, there was a problem, and people chipped in and helped out, and it was great. And that week after was busier on that avenue. It went really well. So I want to thank everyone for their help through all that. Our pool, as we're sliding, not to the end, but we're sliding through August here. The pool has been doing a lot of different things with our swim group. This master's program they've done. We've been helping other pools out as these different races have gone up. And while all that's going on, our paid attendance is up a little more than 5% over last year, which is terrific. So that remains up. Tonight, we're shooting, folks that talked to us, Fiona, I know is not here, about Airbnb. We're shooting to have something together for September. We're also shooting with our, with Sandy Kelly and with the Green Team, some sustainable New Jersey issues that we're hoping to have ordinances together by September, touching on a lot of different issues. We've got a recognition. The Sustainable New Jersey is a program in the state that gives recognition to municipalities for there's checklists, a lot of different things that we can do to be recognized for it. We're trying to kind of bump ourselves up a level, working on some government operations that we can do to try to bump that up. So we're looking for September to have a bunch of ordinances be introduced on that. And in that vein, I just want to mention that this is the first time we've ever had this happen. We had a truckload of our recyclables rejected today. okay? So just to give you a sense of the issues there are, everybody loves sustainability, it's a great thing, recycling, been around forever. Real troubles today, real troubles today. We had never, ever had a truckload of recyclables rejected because too much of the product that was in it was not fitting within the recyclable definitions that we have today. So just to give you an idea, we'll be bumping up our education, trying to help get people to learn, but that is, I often describe it's like turning an oil tanker. You can turn it to go hard to the right, but it takes minutes and minutes for that ship to begin to respond. And getting word out to people, even though we have put a lot of things out, and the county's put a lot of things out, it's really tough to get people to change what they're used to, and that's going to be an ongoing issue. It's not just us all over the state. I was at a conference on Friday, and a lot of towns is now to the point where even the recyclables that are accepted cost more to dispose of than the cost. And it didn't used to be that way. It used to be that we made some money on the recyclable side. Now it used to be that we made some money on the recyclable side. Now it's costing us more than trash to go and load rejected. So that's all I have.
Yeah,
sure, go ahead.
If you notice, we haven't had to sort of.
Sure, go ahead.
If you notice, we haven't had to sort of wait and pause. And a lot of that is just because work has been done by Patco. And if you notice, we've got quieter rail lines. And I just want to say, Jim, that I know the angry calls that you made again and again and again. And what took you so long, or something, because thanks for getting that done.
Thanks. I don't know if you guys know, but it's better. It's gotten better. Okay, open it to the floor. Anything you want to bring before the commission? This is your opportunity to do so. Yes?
Hi, I'm Sarah Beth Vaughn. I live in town. And one of the things.
Use your address, just for the record.
14 West Summerfield.
Thank you.
So one of the things that you brought up, which I'm super excited about, is the draft ordinance for the plastic bags. So I wanted to see when the draft ordinance was going to be submitted and when we'd be able to see it, or when it will be up for consideration.
So I don't think I mentioned the plastic bag specifically, but
I'm sorry,
it is one.
That's what I heard.
It is one of the package of things that we're looking at. We're trying. I've had some conversations with Wawa,
Okay.
who I really, for our town, I feel like is the biggest user of them. And so I touched base with them and had some conversations about, what's been good, what's been bad, how does this work? Because as we do this, I don't want to give them another reason to not be here, because Wawas don't keep these stores anymore. They build gas stations and they're closing up their stores everywhere. So we went over it. They're giving us some thoughts about the bag ordinances that are out there. There's 22 in the state. They're all different, which goes back to what
20
different ordinances.
There's a lot more Wawas, but.
Which is what we've been talking about before, that you really need the state to do, in fairness to businesses, you need state to do something, somebody to take some action, because it's too hard. So we're, and they give me a bunch of their thoughts, and I don't have a draft yet. We've got some things that the green team has kind of bounced around, and we're trying to get a meeting this month with the green team to try to finalize with the group of volunteers who've been working on it, and go over a little package of it and see if we can't finalize it then. When it would be, if we're able to introduce it in September, then the goal would be to have it posted on the Friday by the close of business, the Friday before.
Okay.
I just wanted to stay related to that, is that I think the Green Team, Sustainable Collingswood, has done a great job reaching out to a lot of the local businesses to essentially work on them on voluntarily, taking actions to reduce the amount of single stream trash and the like. And a lot of the businesses have been fantastic about it. You can go and get a strawless iced coffee now at Groove Ground. McFarland's has paper straws and the like, and a bunch of the restaurants as well. So I think the leadership that volunteers in the community have really been doing has been helpful, because oftentimes local businesses are so busy that they can't even figure out how to do it. And the group has really been saying, look, let's help you and work through. Here's the difference in cost. Here's how you can do it.
Okay.
Because when I mentioned that as well,
Oh,
because
I understand.
they're doing great work.
So I live in plastic state branch one. So I think this could be something that, I'm willing to help if you guys are willing to help me. I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited about the Sustainable New Jersey. You guys have bronze, you're working with silver.
Mhm.
I'm enthusiastic about it.
Okay.
So I guess my next thing is just, I want to make sure that we go from talk to action.
Mhm.
So 19 other municipalities have done it within the state of New Jersey. We should be one, especially in South Jersey. I'd like to make us the spearhead for that.
Summers Point is, right?
Summersport is still considered North Jersey. Anything under Trenton.
It doesn't matter. But yes, but.
No, and I will have to say Atlantic City and the southern ocean counties have implemented
Yeah, a lot
a plastic ban.
Yeah, a lot of the short towns.
Yeah.
And listen, it would be easier if there was one ordinance that everyone had then adopted. The fact that there's, a lot of folks told me 22, that there's 22 actually makes it a little tougher because there's one from column A, one from column B, one from column C. There's, so we'll work, we'll certainly, I don't know if you're involved in the
We have
green
We have
team.
talked, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have it, so.
Okay, all right.
And I invited her to be on our green team.
Sure, so we're gonna go over and try to figure out,
We have samples from the state that we're kind of, everybody's looking at and
Okay.
consolidating. So
and listen, it is, I've been doing a bunch of reading on it and we're getting information from all over, but like the paper bags may be worse, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe worse, right? And it seems like, at least from what I'm getting, the best route is they still have plastic bags, but you have to pay for plastic bags. And that's what changes the contract, that the paper's not good. Different companies have certain bags they want to exempt from it for different reasons. Like a lot of the towns exempt Wawa from their soup carrying bags, which apparently are patented bags that they have. They apparently spent a fortune to design these bags to carry their soup things. But, so yeah, we'll get something together and we'll have discussion about it and see what we do.
Sounds good. I just had one.
And there's more, there's other stuff too. It's not just plastic bags.
No, I understand that, but I guess just to bring upon when you talked about the trash and the recycling,
Mhm.
I remember I brought up in the last meeting how we're only collecting 1 and 2, but this is not just Collingswood, it's the state, it's
Right.
the whole United States with the trade and China and, okay, research. But is there any way there is a company within Hoboken, which is an all-women's company that is composting? So what they're doing is going to local schools, local municipalities, local restaurants, and they are taking the waste from that. They're coordinating with the waste management company and then selling the soil. So in turn, we can make an economic development on top of also helping the environment. Have we thought about something like that?
Well, I think we've been doing, don't we have a company that's been doing this? Right? Or did we have it or did that stop?
I don't know if any of the restaurants are working with it.
We had a company in for a while that was doing composting work with the restaurants, taking their waste from the restaurants. I don't think it got to schools, but restaurants. And if it's not happening now, it's because like that business like fizzled out, okay? I think they were based in Gloucester City. And I don't know if it's still active or not, but I know, what's that?
It's called organic diversion.
Yeah, organic divergence. So I don't know if it's still going on, but we can look at doing it. The
I'm just
trouble
saying.
is,
I'm just bringing up some ideas to tackle the problem that you're saying exactly that you're facing.
oh yeah, no, the issue is finding the market,
Mhm.
okay? Like the issue is finding where do we send this stuff, okay? On the compost, I don't know, we can try and find out what happened with organic diversion. What's that?
It's the same issue, but there are some companies that are starting to pop up that are doing it.
It's really finding where to go. We're happy to collect it and get it. The trouble right now out there is that there's a shrinking of marketplaces to deliver this. And with the news today, it's probably not going to get better.
I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I know.
Like that. That's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I got 10 trucks of trash tomorrow. We gotta send somewhere.
I hear you.
So I'm with you on the optimism, but you gotta deliver them someplace.
I understand.
You
Thank
got
you.
it. Sure. Thanks. Anyone else? Yes.
Brian Dilks, Brotman, 243 Crestmont Terrace. I just wanted to circle back to an issue that got talked about last month, the community choice energy aggregation. Where that sort of left off in the discussion from last month was that we're sort of going to try to gauge the interest of other nearby municipalities to see if we could, have a multi-municipality agreement and bring the rates down even more. Is there any progress there, or
Well, I guess there's a couple things, right? I'd say I asked the same question to you guys, right? Because I did ask Food and Water Watch, I haven't heard anything back. I said, I mentioned this and said, look, it would really help me to do this if we could look broader. And I said, is this Collingswood or bust or not? And I haven't heard anything. That said, met with the Office of Sustainability, the county, with Christopher Walter, and talked to him about the idea of saying, look, is there a way? He's fantastic. He knows a lot more about this. And, we're sort of creating that dialogue around it.
And I can update you on from the person from Water Watch sent us email from a council person in Livingston that was kind of like to whom it may concern. This is like what our experience was. And in that, they talked about the consultants they brought in. And because of my work in the JIF, I do a lot of work with about how it works, what they're doing. So generally, where they've done it, it's been cost savings. Okay, and that would be like the kicker for me would be I have just a philosophical problem starting out in all this to say, hey, everybody in town, I already send them tax bills, and they're used to that. Like that's what I'm supposed to do, right? But now I'm going to say, oh, by the way, we've changed who you're getting your energy from in your house, and you've always done that before, and now we're doing that for you. So I got a little issue with that. But because most of the places I'm familiar with the aggregation has been to save money. And what the Gable guys told me was that it was most of the towns where they did do it with a higher sustainability ratio, it was they saved money, just not as much money, right? So they could go out and get a Constellation or somebody to supply in and save 50%. So instead they were saving 5%, but they were doing a good thing, which okay, I got that. But so that would be something for me. So I talked to Gable some. We're trying to see if there's some coordination between towns can get done with it. Because even talking with them, broadening the number of users, getting the right users, I don't know what that magic potion is for that, can help you drive down those numbers even further.
Right, and I know the New Jersey statute that allows you to do it mandates that it brings cost down unless you're bringing in more renewables.
Right.
It's not an either or, right?
It's not supposed to.
It took a while for, in North Jersey, 3 or 4 times they went out to bid, couldn't do it. Right. And then sometimes you could. And again, that really gets to is having the right people to counsel you to do it. So you get it right. And, it's really easy just to say yes, it'll make people feel good, but I want to do it right. And that's sort of part of the process. That's why, sort of exploring this with Gables of the world is important because they've worked in Livingston, they've worked in Montclair, Maplewood one, and have someone that's experienced would be helpful to inform us.
I've had the conversations over the years with older couples that have to move because they can't afford their taxes. Like I don't want to add into it my electric bill jump 10%. Like what's with that? And I tell them, well, like, it's a really good thing. It's good for everybody. Like we gotta be able to get both. And I didn't think we'd get there, but these guys told me they said they've had a bunch of towns that have decided not to do it because the numbers didn't work. But they've also had a lot of towns that have done it and have, they've got that balance where they do get that reduction, but not quite the reduction. That would be.
I mean, even if it's stabilized our rates while also bringing in more renewables, wouldn't that be worth it?
There's everything's on the table, right? It's the mix.
Yeah.
It's what are you going to do? Do you want to just speed up 2050 to 2040, or are you talking about 2021, right? You know, are you, what's considered renewable, right? Are you gonna do trash? You know, and all these things. So there's a lot of things to go into it. I think the three of us, and I don't want to speak for Commissioner Leonard, but I feel pretty good about it, are committed to looking into it. I think there are instances where if the deal doesn't look good, then you gotta, you know, walk away. But you bring in the people that are good at it, and you let them work through the process with the idea of saying, look, here's what we want to do. We want to up our renewables, and we want to keep prices stable or lower. You know, can you do it? And then it's a yes or no.
And I'm involved, another GIF that I'm involved in is the SEM, is it like a kind of out of the GIF process, this collection of GIFs from out the state, purchase energy together for governmental use, okay? So their purchase of that is, we've been bumping that, the sustainable side, like bumping that up as we can. Again, with mindful of like not killing, you know, towns on the number side, but just slowly like, you know, getting that closer and closer. So yeah, we're trying to do it. It would really help if we had a greater aggregate. You know, it makes it a lot easier to do. Something like what, you know, I wasn't involved in starting, but like the self-insurance pools, like started with, you know, 6 towns getting together and say, you know what, if we combine our lives and our cars and vehicles, we can get our insurance cheaper. Same thing would go here. It's not per capita, it's gotta be the right mix, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can't have a lot of utility plant operators that use huge amounts of electricity because they can get, like, they throw things out of whack.
I think the rule of thumb I heard is you want like similar communities, because otherwise there could be winners and losers, and you're bringing people at a table to essentially subsidize table or town X or town Y. So you want to kind of create ones that do that. Make sense?
Okay, yes, sir.
Ann Carroll, Washington Avenue, Collinsville. Why don't we be the first town in Camden County to get the ball rolling? Let's get all of Camden County to do this. All of us, the freeholders. It'll make them feel good that they're doing this, don't you think?
Well, that's why I met with the Office of
looking at it.
Sustainability.
Yeah,
That's why I met with them. Yeah,
All of
that's why I met with them.
Yeah.
I think the idea larger could be that. Now, people may say, look, you don't want to take all these towns to do it. You want to break it up in segments. Okay, well then tell me that. I don't hear it from, you know, a lot of advocates will tell me I want it, but they don't tell me how to do it. So I'm trying to figure it out. And sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. But you know, I would hope people wouldn't say, well, you know, you're not doing your due diligence, right? I'm reading EPA technical, you know, reports on the cost benefit analysis of aggregates, you know, trying to get this stuff right. Yes is easy. Getting it right is important too. So I think we're on the same page, but we just got to get it right.
We could be the first.
Well, the first is.
That's nice, but I'd rather we got it right.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay.
Got to get it right.
What else? Anyone else? Yes.
Sophie Pinto, 10 Fraser Avenue. I just want to advocate once again for the installation of electric car chargers in the town.
So last week was there was an event. It was in Collinswood last year. We did about electric vehicles with Environment New Jersey and a couple other groups that sponsored it. They're working with us about, there's a second round of, I don't know what this is, but they all talk about the VW settlement money.
So it's the Electrify America, is that it?
I don't know. It's
It's
VW.
around that, that's where you want to be.
States had a big settlement. These guys are getting distributing this with the BPU. They, Matt, the guy that runs it, grabbed me before we even started and said, look, we got you in line, we got you teed up, like we want to sit down and go over this. So we're looking at getting some grant money for that. I kidded with them at that event. Part of why we want to do this is because people are plugging into our plugs everywhere, okay? In the garages, at the farmer's market, that you're driving up the street, like if there's an outlet out in the public, boom, they're plugging their cars into it. So we're trying to get some funding for that to try and get some spots set up.
And spots and accessible spots that they'll be, you know.
Probably some in the garage, something out here, and then we'll look like neighborhoods about where, where we can spread them around. But I don't know how many, but we're working on getting the funding to do that. Okay? Yeah, free money would work. Yes, sir.
Vince Lacavera, 26 West Summerfield. I have a couple things. First, thank you very much for the sign. It's up there, if you know how that sign.
You got the sign.
Yeah, it works.
Signs are up.
The second thing, so I have a couple things about parking. I'm not really sure if there's existing policy on this, but recently you guys started water main work behind my house, which is awesome.
Right.
The less awesome part about it is I think my car might get trapped in my driveway when they start tearing up the road behind my house. I called the police station to ask about if I could get a temporary placard so I could park on the road and not have my car get stuck. And I was told I needed to call in overnight, every night, which seems like a really inefficient use of time.
Yeah, it does.
So-
You're right. So just send me an email. The chief is right here.
Chief's there.
It's not.
Yeah, I know that's not like the.
That's not how it goes.
Yeah, I was just wondering if.
When there's construction like that, there will be, they'll ease the enforcement and they'll let people know
Okay.
as the construction comes to like not park your cars there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, over
Yeah.
the time I was at work today, the fence behind my house has been completely removed. There's been notice that construction would start on my street. They put papers out on everyone's doors, but nothing really to say, like any sort of warning, even in the back door of my house, like notice that construction would start on my street. They put papers out on everyone's doors, but nothing really to say, like any sort of warning, even in the back door of my house, like, hey, not your way. So, if that.
Talk to the chief. We'll take care of it.
And lastly, on the
Maybe update notice.
on the string of environmental sustainability, I was wondering, has anyone in our town looked into if stickers on cars for parking would be more efficient than placards, the hard plastic? In addition to possibly being more sustainable, it would also reduce the frustration of, I forgot to put my placard back up after I came back from Wawa and ended up with a ticket parked outside of my house where my car is registered to my house, and the police officer ran the tags to see my car is registered to my house. Like,
So-
it kind of just seems like a better match. I know Rowan University has parking stickers and that I work there as an employee, so I've never run into a parking issue at all there, as opposed to a placard.
So we used to have stickers, okay, and we rolled into placards mainly when we updated everything, got a little tighter on the annual, or what we do it every 2 years, we renew, right? So, yeah, we can look at how to do that. The trouble was, back in the day, before we revamped the system like 5-6 years ago, it was, people got stickers and like they weren't dated anyway. They just were stickers.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
So those stickers were around for like 50 years, and like we had so many stickers all over the place. So now it's we're trying to do the placard, but yeah, we can look at changing the.
Yeah, it's just annoying when you get a $25 ticket for parking outside your
You
house.
just call. Yeah, did you call? Did you
No,
contact
because
anyone? Contact us. Send me an email.
I just
Send
put
it
my
over to-
placard up, so I got the ticket because I was parked illegally. You need a placard. The ordinance says it has to be in plain sight, hanging at the spot. So I was
You
in
can
the
always
wrong.
send it to me. You may not believe it, but people every once in a while send things to me complaining about things. So you can certainly send that over, and I can pass it on, and we can see what we can do.
Okay.
Okay?
I should learn how to use email.
What's that?
I should learn how to use email.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
Sir, Ed Barnes, 26 East Linden. My concern is the pedestrian crosswalks by the library and McFarland's. They're too close to, the automobiles are very close to where people walk out into the street. People cross that street with reckless abandon. I had to stop. That goes slow, mind you, but had to hit my brake because they do have the right of way, mind you, but I'm wondering, can you possibly have some type of flashing light or so? I've seen them in other places where, in those two in particular, down where I live, by the library, I can see a block away someone crossing the street. There, all of a sudden, they're out in the street, because they're so close to automobiles parked on this side of that.
So what we've tried to do in a few spots is where we put bike racks and installations is on the sides, alongside of some crosswalks to give some more room for cars to see somebody standing there. We were just talking about this with place. I know, but whatever you have in place over time, nobody sees it anymore, you know? And he said it gets to the point now where like folks don't even like hit the lights and stuff. So we think the better is to try to give more room, okay? And so we'll take a look up there and just see, other side of the library, fine.
And as imperfect as it is we always try to create more space on the side, so on the sides the traffic is coming from. So, you know, we'll have greater visibility on the side the traffic is approaching from. The other side, the car might be tightly there, but we always try on the approach, when the approach we try to have, it's not perfect, but it, you know, it tries to sort of give a little bit of visibility. The other thing I'll say though, and I think we all know this, nothing's gonna help you when a person's driving and looking at their phone, right? And we really all need to be mindful.
Or crossing the street looking at their phone.
Well, they do that. Say,
Everybody.
And they'll, again, representing right out in the street, they have right way, that's understandable, but somebody's gonna get hurt.
You got it. So you're talking, you said McFarland's library, you're talking at the library, right? Where Bob.
There's one in the library and one close Collins Avenue.
On the corner of the pop shop over there.
Very close.
Okay.
Okay. Some,
You got it.
yeah, as a result, I live here, I go down there for, I don't even bother with that.
Okay,
Thank
you
you.
got it. Thanks for letting us know.
Did you have something you wanted to add to it?
So, just phase one was the painting of the crosswalks. Phase two, we're going to be looking to add a little pedestrian box. So if we don't have that barrier such as the bike racks, it's going to allow the pedestrian to get into the roadway so that you can be more visible to vehicles as well. We're going to do that to see if that increases visibility for drivers and maybe they'll be more cognizant of pedestrians.
What they do is they call it a safe space. I don't know how safe it's going to be, but they call it safe space. So in between the crosswalk, in the area like in where the cars are and coming out a little bit, will be like green, right? It'll be painted a solid green color. And the idea is to train the people crossing that you can step up to the edge of that green, give people a shot to see you as you make your eye contact, whatever it is that gives you comfort, like proceed. Okay, so that's the next phase of the thermoplast is almost all done, pretty much done on the avenue, right? I don't have now. That's pretty much all done, and then these safe spaces come next. Okay, sure. Thanks for coming out. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
On the plastic bag resolution that you're talking about.
Yes.
Do you have a goal, a deadline you'd like to enact this resolution?
We'd like to, so we've got a package of ordinances we'd like to get in the meeting in September, because this happy little contest that we all participate in, this Sustainability New Jersey, has like a review in November, right? So we want to like get it in so that we get into this batch to try to get a silver star.
Actually pass the ordinance by then?
We would pass it in October.
But you mentioned plastic
pass
bags, though, I want to just be clear. I get a sense that plastic bags will not be on the agenda unless something really big happens that we get a clear indication. It's other.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
But I don't want to, but we're not going to sacrifice all the other resolutions.
Yeah, it'll be there. No,
You think so?
Yeah, it's a,
See, he's the optimist now. I'm not.
there's an anti-idling, well, we get a big prize. There's an anti-idling, smoke-free, tobacco-free public spaces. There's a bunch of different ordinances, a complete streets policy, which is part of, we're starting a master plan policy, a re-exam. That's gonna be part of that. This stuff is like establishing a policy that will put in writing what we already do, but by creating the policy and adopting the policy, it gets us 5 more points on our sustainable New Jersey.
Yeah, but I don't really care about that. What I care about is getting plastic bags out of people's
Well, we
hands.
think it's gonna be part of this package of
It
the.
will be part of the package.
We're shooting for that, yes. We're shooting for it, yes.
But do you want paper in its place?
Yeah, we gotta figure out how to do it.
Well,
I'm just curious.
I've seen paper in its place. I've seen plastic bags, good quality plastic bags with handles.
Yeah.
Little.
My car's full of them. Hopefully I remember to bring them into the store, right?
Yeah, not the reusable bags.
Oh,
Other
yeah.
alternatives too.
Yeah.
Plastic bags, where you pay a quarter or 10 cents to you have to buy a bag if you want a bag.
Mhm.
You have to pay for it.
Yep.
But you don't give cheap plastic bags when they pay for it, you give them when they're used.
Yeah.
But I think plastic bags are just the tip of the iceberg. And if we don't start acting on plastic bags, we're not going anywhere.
Can I add on that real quick? I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
I'm sorry, Eric Reinheimer.
And we'll be back to you, okay? Let's just go around. Kate, you had your hand raised? Just
I do,
you
and I
wanna speak?
wouldn't,
Reinheimer.
Go ahead.
yeah, to connect with what
Kate.
Eric is saying, I'm Kate Delaney, 126 East Palmer.
Thank you.
Well known. So chiming in on that point about plastic bags, taking action, getting credit from Sustainable Jersey. This past Saturday, I was with another committee member talking about community choice aggregation. And for the second time, I walked past a stack of lawn signs that were designed, I guess, for the market that said no plastic or you have to ask. So they were just upside down, leaning against a trash can. So they were not displayed. So they're plastic coated lawn signs. This is the norm, I know, as someone who has ordered lawn signs. They also were colored, which is super expensive lawn signs, which I guess taxpayers paid for. So I don't know.
Taxpayers don't.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna talk
Okay,
now.
no,
and
you
yell
can take
at
all
me.
the shots you want,
So,
but taxpayers don't.
That's fine, what I'm saying is that's some greenwashing. Are we getting credit for that? I mean,
Greenwashing.
Well, you can't
Yeah,
put,
just go.
so first of all,
You
you
go.
can't put a lawn sign into asphalt.
then what was the goal of buying?
I don't know, you need to talk to the farmer, we'll talk to
Did
the
you
farmer's
talk to
market.
anyone associated with the market
I have,
about
yes.
what have they told you signs stack where they should?
I think
Because I don't
there's
know.
momentum
No one's
to-
contacted me about it.
I think there's definitely momentum for people to stop.
But what happened when you talked to
Momentum for
David?
people to stop what?
What
Stop
happened when you talked
having
to
plastic
David?
in the market. I don't think that this is about throwing data on the bus. I think that there's interest in doing this, but I think it needs to be led by commissioners.
But
I think it just
no,
needs to be
let me
that
back up.
people don't have, vendors should not be offered the opportunity to be there if they have plastic.
Kate, how many S-Rex do you sell back on your house, on your solar?
I don't have solar panels
Exactly,
because I have the
because
wrong
you
picture.
don't do it, everyone doesn't do everything, and you don't get to set the agenda for everything. I understand.
I don't
that
have the right picture for it, but I did
Oh,
look into it. This isn't about.
The point
this
is
about
that
what you're
there's a million things to do. We're doing a lot of them. If there's an issue with this, it doesn't have to make us criminals. I don't know why I'm a Democratic Party member. I don't know why the Democratic chair blocks me on Facebook when I've never even said anything to her on Facebook before. But somehow I'm the bad guy, and I'm always the bad guy. And, Kate, please come to the meeting. Say what you want to say, but why everything has to be us all being criminal? When we're up, we're trying to do right, we're getting the garbage, keep people safe, trying to do recreation, but everything seems to be packaged in the evilness of the people at this
This is
table.
not about the evilness of
And
anyone.
you don't think you
should
come
take-
off that way?
Well, I'm
You don't
sorry
think
to
you
take
come
my
off that
ideas
way?
personally, but this is an idea that I think is something that we can.
Okay, it's an idea, so that's fine.
Can I go back a little bit, because you said I think one of the complaints in there was that there were signs that were upside down, that were up against
A
something.
trash can, yeah,
a
I
trash
don't know why
can,
they weren't
okay.
displayed, how are
Did
people
you-
gonna know to do that?
Did you speak to anyone at the market, David Hodges? Did you ask David, why are the signs over there? Because I don't know.
He's
Did you
in
ask
charge of
him?
the borough, that would be.
So I just tell you, we
Yeah.
didn't give any directives to take those signs and put them upside down next to a trash can, okay? So I'll find out what they did. I can tell you that the bags at the market are one consideration we'll have as we're doing all this, okay? Because we don't want to lose these farmers, okay? So what we've been doing for the last, and I can tell you from conversations with them, we're close to losing some farmers, okay? It ain't easy out there. We got a store we worked for 10 years to get in that's leaving because the market just isn't working for them, okay? So we've been working for the last year on trying to educate people, gently encourage them, try to get them to change their habits. Not easy to do. It's moving that oil tanker, very hard to do, but we're trying to do it in a way that while we would win the point and be first, okay, we lose 4 farmers, okay? That's the balance we're trying to do. So it's just a little bit of each. If there are signs ever like that, you've texted me before, you've emailed me before, send me one. If you can't find somebody there, I'll find out why, we'll take care of it. It's not, there's no directive to not put signs up that we have. And there's no, and whoever, I presume David ordered signs, I don't know, but we can make him more conscious of what signs he gets. To be honest with you, I don't know. And just for the record, taxpayers don't pay for the farmer's market. The farmer's market is funded by a lot of companies and organizations that sponsor it and fund it. And it is self-sustaining and generates its own money, and that is what pays for the things at the farmer's market, not taxpayers.
Okay, well,
Okay.
my point is that I think it would be an easy first step before we go town-wide to do the market. And I agree with Eric that a good way is to, require people. I agree that you need to do education around it, but I think if you have to just kind of pull the plug and say they won't be available. That's.
Okay, all right, thanks. Anyone else? You wanted to follow up on something else? No, you all right?
Yeah, I guess just one of the other things, I know we're reiterating and you're probably all sick of hearing about plastic bags, but I just wanted to know the store owners downtown.
We've already done it. We've already talked to them a bunch.
Okay, and what's,
There's been more than not just bid meetings. There's been There's been one-on-one going in, talk with them,
and what is
trying to
what
get
is
them
their feedback?
they're trying. It's more expensive. They're trying to find other mechanisms for restaurants, for takeout. They're trying to find other bags to use. Like it's not just flip a switch.
And I understand
That's
that,
all.
but there's research
Let's-
and there are focus groups that can be put together. We're a community, we have a green team, all this type of stuff, where we can help with procurement and make the cost go down. Maybe we can coordinate with Camden County Sustainability. Those things, but we need to do
Good.
more than just talk about this.
We're not just, okay, thank you.
Thank you, I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yes.
I think a lot of the frustrations that are being discussed, as a personal anecdote, I am in a union as part of my job, and we're in the middle of a contract negotiation. And we occasionally get some updates that are in parts vague and other parts a little bit more clear. Now, I don't understand you to say, we spoke to Bistro Di Marino and they said this, or that's absurd and a little ridiculous.
Really? I talk to them all the time.
No, I mean, today I spoke to Bistro Di Marino about plastic bags, and this is what I said at 2:00, and this is what they said at 2. Yeah, I'm not expecting that kind of update.
Okay.
But I guess what they're trying to say is it's difficult, and we're trying, and some businesses.
We said that there's a whole course of things next
I'm
month.
not trying to be
Is it-
overcritical.
It's been discussed, or we discussed it last meeting too, plastic bags.
I believe we discussed it briefly at the last meeting, but the kind of update we got was
30 days later, we're 30 days we have together. In the meantime, been a couple other things going on, okay? But we have been working and putting a package together to do this.
okay.
I had half the town without power, trees down, that kind of stuff. We've had, we've spent the last weekend looking for a young man. I mean, there's a couple other things going on.
I
Okay?
understand.
So,
I
okay,
understand.
so we are, and I've told you what's coming next month. That's where we are.
Okay.
Okay?
One more thing.
Sure.
Not plastic.
Name and address.
Not plastic bags. 253 Woodlawn Terrace, Eric Reinheimer. Woodlawn Terrace, as I said 4 or 5 years ago when I first moved here, is a speedway.
Speed line?
Speedway for cars,
Okay.
traveling up and down the street. Not every car. Cars going 25, 30, that's fine. Woodlawn Terrace.
Okay.
It's a cut through from
Yeah.
South Park up to Haddon Avenue. Every commuter in town uses it, it seems like anyway. And the problem really hasn't been addressed, and I would like to see it addressed in some fashion. I asked about speed bumps, you said they're out of the question. Since that time, I've been in many towns in this area and I've seen speed bumps. Well, how can they do that and we can't?
Every town where I know any of the officials that put speed bumps in has told me, don't ever do speed
Is
bumps.
that right?
Yep. Because the people that wanted it, the week after it's in, they want the speed bumps removed, okay?
Because they want to
Because,
speed.
huh?
Because they want to speed.
No, because you know how people, they hit speed bumps when they're going too quick? So what happens is then the neighbors that are close, their complaint is,
It's
do
fine,
you know
fine,
the ruckus
don't
those
get
cars
speed
make
bumps.
going over those speed bumps? But no, the police chief is here. We're happy to take a look to see what we can do.
Speed
There's some
bumps,
important,
we don't have to do.
There's some enforcement that we could do, we could see if the signage is okay, we
We've
can
done
look.
that, we've done that. And the worst day was July 22nd, when we had that huge storm. And South Park was closed at Center Street, and everybody had to come up Woodlawn Terrace.
Listen, there were a lot of streets that were really, really bad that day, okay? Those days, a lot of streets. The west side was a horror.
One thing you could do is, and I guess I should go on the website and request this, is paint the lines on that street. They are.
So we're in the midst of doing a massive
I know you
repainting.
are. Can I ask for Woodlawn Terrace to be done and Woodlawn Avenue to be done?
Sure.
There are a lot of lines there that are just really faded. That's a small step.
You got it, we're beefing up a bunch of spots.
I know you said years ago that you had a proposal to put a stop sign at Princeton. Is that not a viable alternative?
No, that one doesn't ring a bell, I can't tell you that.
I mean,
You can make, the chief is here, let them know where you'd like it to be, they'll go out and they'll take a look.
In a sense, the best thing to slow things down right now is the parking on both sides, right? Because you can't get two cars across, so invariably someone has to yield to someone else. And it's funny, is because people will say, this is crazy, you gotta get rid of parking there. I'm like, that's gonna speed up the cars if you do that. So the ironic thing is who's gonna pull over? Is it gonna be them? Is it gonna be me? Is the thing
people tend to go slower down here.
Anything that obstructs their view ahead. That's why the bump outs.
Thanks, Mrs. Leonard, for her work on the shade.
Yeah,
It was
great.
We planned a lot of.
She wasn't so popular last week, but yes.
But I need something to be done there, because it's not
Okay.
everybody that speeds, but every once in a while, somebody will be going 45, maybe 50 miles an hour.
We will
And that
take a
whole
look.
street is just dangerous.
Be happy to take a look. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Okay, we're adjourned, thanks. Enjoy the rest of the summer. Sorry.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good.
We should take some photos.
Yes.
Do you like,
Take a
I
look.
was-
do you like, like your email calling? I want to